I don't want to be lied to, gaslit, or manipulated. I want honesty and transparency, even if that means that I don't like what I'm hearing. Transparency is something that's hard to come by in this industry. So, when we start having a company as large as Uber making claims like driver pay is up, but meanwhile, we drivers are getting offers like this, it's an insult to our intelligence. What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach Drives Fast for the RideShare Guy, and this video is all about lies, manipulation, and sketchy math. Before we get too far into the video, I want to talk about an easy solution to ever-decreasing pay. Solo. Solo is an app that'll tell you the best times to drive in your market, and they'll give you an estimate on how much you should make. Should you fall short of that estimate, I'll cut you a check for the difference. Check out Solo by clicking the link in the description. Enjoy more predictable earnings, and you'd be helping support the channel in the process. Alright, let's get into the video. I want to get this off my chest right now. This is not going to be a fun video to make, as I love Uber Eats, but honesty and accountability are important, so these topics need to be discussed. As a driver of nearly 4 years, I understand how the gig economy works. I know a great opportunity when I see one, and I know a trash offer when I see one. I also know that pay doesn't go up, it always trends down. So, when the CEO of Uber makes claims like,
drivers are making about 30% more than they were making 5 years ago,
I know it's bullshit. Matter of fact, let me know in the comments if you think that driver pay is up nearly 30%. I use an app called Para. It's an app that shows me the entire delivery address prior to accepting the order, as well as declines bad orders for me. But it does something else. It keeps track of my offer history. What you're looking at here is the 10 most recent Uber Eats offers to hit my phone. You're welcome to pause the video and check my math, but I'll gladly save you the time. The average pay for the 10 most recent offers to hit my phone was $5.80, and it's worth mentioning. All of those offers came through on a Friday or a Saturday. This was the first set of numbers I calculated, and when I got to $5.80, I knew something was really janky. Until fairly recently, the average pay on Uber Eats in my market was between $8 and $9 per order. So when I saw $5.80, it was a little shy of the target. With that said, let's look at 10 offers that hit my phone back to back in mid-November. And it's also worth noting that these came through on a Thursday. The average pay for an Uber Eats offer in my market just 4 months ago was $8.64. That's $2.84 more per order just 4 months ago. Another way of saying that is the orders paid 33% higher. I also think it's worth pointing out that while Thursday is not known to be a slow day, the orders typically don't pay as well as they would on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, like when our first set of numbers were calculated. Interesting that the midweek orders were paying more then than the weekend numbers are paying now. And for those of you who are going to pop up in the comments and say, yeah, but that's an incredibly small sample size, you're right. However, I decided to keep my sample size short, sweet, and to the point while making this video. However, if I calculate 20, 30, or 50 offers, the math doesn't really change. I find these numbers fascinating as Uber recently celebrated a huge milestone for the first time. They reported their first profit ever. It turns out, the answer to their problem was just to squeeze the driver a little bit harder. Alright, that may not be entirely fair of me, but I'll never believe that cutting driver pay by up to 33% didn't play some role in their cash flow. Earlier I mentioned that this wouldn't be a fun video for me to make, and the reason for that is until fairly recently, they were one of the highest paying apps in my market. But the real problem is, with pay that low, in some cases they're still trying to send orders 20 and even 30 miles. In my last video, I said that it seemed like mileage pay is what got hit the hardest, and I definitely hold to that. I want to pop that screenshot up again that I showed at the beginning of the video. $3.25 for 13.3 miles. 4 to 6 months ago, that order would have paid me closer to $10 assuming the customer didn't tip, mostly due in part to the mileage pay. Let me ask you this. Do you think that customers are enjoying a break on their fees? Of course not. They're just taking far more of the money that used to go to the driver and pocketing it. I also find it curious that we used to be able to look at the order summary screen and see how much was paid to Uber versus given to us. But we can't do that anymore, can we? Uber's now hiding their take rate. Let me ask you this. Do you think that slashing our pay and hiding payment details is treating the drivers right? No? I didn't think so either. So, I guess the next step in the mathematic equation is to figure out what planet Dara's living on. Just a few weeks ago in India, he was giving a talk and paid lip service to drivers, saying that he took us for granted. In another recent interview, Dara made the claim that drivers are making 30% more this year as opposed to 5 years ago. Bullshit. What he fails to mention is that there's nearly twice as many drivers as there were 5 years ago. So, sure, they might be paying out 30% more per month to drivers, but that extra 30% is being spread out to twice as many drivers. Alright, so that was the Uber math. The real math is, when you spread 30% out among that many more drivers, everybody is seeing less pay. That is the rest of the story. Alright, let's take a look at a quick example. For the sake of simplicity, let's say you had 20 drivers and you paid them all collectively $1,000 5 years ago. Each driver would get $50, but fast forward 5 years and instead of 20 drivers, you now have 40. We're going to keep with Dara's claim that they're paying drivers 30% more, so instead of $1,000, it's now going to be $1,300. Divide that $1,300 by 40 drivers, and each driver is now making $3,250. Oh, that's actually 35% less per driver. Sneaky, sneaky, Dara. By the way, I just want to throw it out there that this lines up almost identically with the examples I showed earlier. I want to turn it back to Dara for a moment. About a year back, he went undercover as Dave K and did rideshare and food delivery. Turns out, his experience was so piss poor that he promised that there would be huge changes for rideshare and delivery drivers. But the real question is, did we see changes? Sure. We saw even more reductions to pay, more oversaturation, and even less transparency. That's what we saw. Dara, here's a tip for you. If your drivers are striking, that means we're pissed. You don't have to go undercover to find out why. Just ask us. We'll gladly tell you. I can't speak for you, but I'm of the opinion that lying and gaslighting about our pay is an insult to our intelligence. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that we're making less now than we were 6 months ago. This may be an unpopular opinion, but if they have to slash driver pay, I would rather them come out and say something honest like, hey, we need to cut your pay a little bit so we can keep offering you the opportunity to drive. Now, I'm not saying that I would agree with this or that it would make me happy, but I do think that it's better than a straight up lie. Uber, before slashing our pay, try pricing rides and deliveries appropriately so they get accepted to begin with. If that doesn't work, try making a wait list to help curb oversaturation. Alright guys, I'm sorry for a more fiery video this time, but it does piss me off when they treat us like we're stupid. I want to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments section. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like button and subscribing to the RideShare Guy. You can catch my videos here every Tuesday. If this video resonated with you, check out this video next where I share some advanced strategies that you can use to help you earn more money. I'm Zach Drives Fast for the RideShare Guy. Take care.